You're not half the woman your sister is. That's what my mother said. Into a microphone. At a rooftop engagement party. In front of 120 guests. And she was looking directly at me. But before we continue, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell for updates. The skyline of Chicago glittered behind her. String lights swayed overhead. A jazz trio was mid-song. My sister Olivia, 30, stood glowing in a silk white dress beside her fiancé, Daniel Mercer, 32, smiling like she was already posing for wedding photos. I'm Emily Lawson. I'm 27. I was standing near the Champagne Tower when my mother, Patricia Lawson, 58, decided to compare her daughters publicly. The room didn't laugh. It didn't gasp either. It just froze. Have you ever felt a whole crowd turn into witnesses at your expense? That strange silence where no one moves because they're waiting to see how badly this will go? My dad, Richard Lawson, 61, shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. He never says anything when she does this. That's important. Olivia kept smiling. That's also important. Because this wasn't the first time I'd heard that sentence. It was just the first time it came with amplification. You're not half the woman your sister is. You'd think I'd sit down. Swallow it. Be the practical one. The mature one. The accountant brain in a family that worships big dreams and bigger personalities. Instead, I stood up. Calm. Steady. And I said, then she can stop cashing my checks. My father dropped his crystal glass. It shattered across the concrete floor. Daniel turned slowly toward Olivia. His smile didn't disappear all at once. It unraveled. What checks? He asked. And that's when I realized something critical. He didn't know. Not about the $48,000 over 3 years. Not about the $1,500 transfers on the first of every month. Not about the December venue deposit that came out of my savings. Olivia hadn't told him. Which means my humiliation wasn't the only performance happening that night. So let me ask you something. If you were publicly labeled the lesser daughter, while secretly funding the golden one, would you stay quiet? Or would you finally tell the truth? Because what happened after Daniel asked that question didn't just ruin a speech. It cracked open 3 years of lies. And no one, not my parents, not my sister, not even her fiancé, was ready for what came next. Have you ever been assigned a role in your own family before you were old enough to understand it? In our house in Evanston, Olivia was the headline. I was the fine print. She's 3 years older than me. 30 now. Marketing degree. Effortlessly charming. The kind of person who can walk into a room and somehow make it revolve around her without appearing to try. I'm 27. Accounting major. CPA license by 24. I color code my calendar. I track my expenses in spreadsheets. I was the responsible one. Sounds like a compliment, right? It wasn't. When Olivia quit her first job because her boss stifled her creativity, my mom said, she's meant for more. When she left the second because it didn't align with her vision, Dad nodded like she was a misunderstood CEO. When I worked 2 internships during college and studied past midnight for my CPA exams, my mom said, that's what you're supposed to do. Do you hear the difference? Olivia was extraordinary for existing. I was expected to be stable. 3 years ago, Olivia announced she was launching a luxury event styling business. Custom florals. High-end table capes. Instagram aesthetics. She had a logo before she had revenue. She needed $15,000 to get started. My parents had already refinanced the house once after Dad's retirement package fell short of projections. So they came to me. Just temporary, Dad said. You're helping your sister build something meaningful. I had just started my financial consulting job in downtown Chicago. Salary, $92,000. More money than anyone in our family had earned at my age. I wired the $15,000. Temporary became 6 months later. Another $10,000 for inventory expansion. Then $8,000 for a warehouse deposit. Then $1,500 monthly to smooth out cash flow gaps. Every transfer labeled family support. Tell me honestly, at what point would you have said no? Because every time I hesitated, Mom would sigh and say, your sister just has bigger dreams than you. Bigger dreams. Like dreams are measured in dollar signs borrowed from your younger sibling. Here's the part no one talks about. When you're the stable one, your stability becomes communal property. I wasn't just her sister. I was her silent investor. Only there was no contract, no equity, no repayment plan, just expectation. And as I stood at that engagement party staring at the $40,000 floral installation hanging over the dance floor, something clicked. I recognized the vendor because I had paid their invoice 3 months earlier. And that's when I realized something else. This wasn't about helping her anymore. This was about maintaining an illusion. But the illusion was about to crack. And the first fracture came from a single, quiet question. What checks? There is something surreal about being insulted by your own mother in surround sound. The microphone amplified everything. Her voice. The comparison. The pause after it. You're not half the woman your sister is, but Emily is practical. Practical. The crowd offered that tight, polite laughter people use when they're not sure if they're allowed to react. I felt heat climb up my neck. Not embarrassment. Not even anger. Clarity. Because suddenly I understood the pattern. Olivia gets the spotlight. I fund the spotlight. And then I get reduced to a personality trait. So I stood up. Not dramatically. Not shaking. Calm. Then she can stop cashing my checks. You could hear the wind. My father's glass slipped from his hand and shattered. The jazz trio stopped mid-note. Even the bartender froze. Daniel turned to Olivia slowly, like he was recalculating something in real time. What checks? Olivia's smile flickered. Just for a second. If you blinked, you'd miss it. It's just family stuff, she said quickly. Family stuff. That phrase is a vault. It's designed to shut down further questions. But Daniel didn't shut down. What checks? He repeated, softer this time. And here's the thing about being an accountant. We keep records. I pulled out my phone. Not to wave it around. Not to embarrass her. Just to read. 15,000. April 2023. 10,000. October 2023. 8,000. March 2024. Monthly transfers of $1,500. 36 months. I looked up. That's $48,000. You could see the math hitting Daniel in real time. Olivia jumped in. It wasn't like that. Mom and Dad were supposed to help. It was temporary. Temporary. 3 years is not temporary. Daniel swallowed. You told me your parents invested $40,000. Silence. She had rewritten the story. In her version, she was the founder who convinced her parents to believe in her. In reality, she convinced them to convince me. And here's the twist no one expected. The venue deposit for that rooftop? $12,000. Transferred from my account 2 weeks before tonight. Labeled family support. Daniel's jaw tightened. The ring down payment, he said slowly. That came from your business account. Olivia didn't answer. Because we both knew where that account got its oxygen. Let me ask you something. If you found out your fiancé's success was quietly subsidized by her younger sister, would you feel betrayed? Or manipulated? Daniel turned to my father. You asked her for money? Dad didn't speak. And that's when Daniel did something none of us saw coming. He pulled out his phone. And opened his banking app. Secrets don't explode. They leak. Slowly, steadily, until the entire foundation crumbles. And tonight, the cracks were everywhere. Daniel's phone lit up with bank records I had screenshots of. He swiped through them, eyes widening, disbelief layering over confusion. Olivia's confident smile faltered. That perfect, curated grin, the one that had survived every family dinner and Instagram post, was finally cracking. You told me your parents invested $40,000, Daniel said quietly, almost more to himself than to anyone else. You never mentioned Emily's involvement. Her eyes started to me. My mother looked like she had just realized the microphone had betrayed her. My father shuffled, unsure if he should intervene or just sink into the floor. Olivia stammered. I didn't think it mattered. It mattered. Every transfer mattered. Every invoice, every monthly $1,500 payment mattered. Because without it, the business didn't run. Vendors didn't get paid. Floral arches didn't arrive. It was me, quietly propping up the illusion of independence. Not matter? I said, my voice calm but sharp. You told Daniel you bootstrapped everything. You said I didn't want to help. You said I was jealous. Jealous. I had never been jealous. I had been used. And for the first time, the truth was standing in the room like a person. Daniel looked at Olivia, then at me. So you were funding everything? He asked. Yes, I said. Every major vendor, every deposit, every supply purchase. And 6 months ago, I stopped. Her face went pale. I stopped because I'm saving for my own condo, I continued. And suddenly, your cash flow struggled. You told Daniel he was helping you bridge the gap, but really, he was replacing me. My money. My sacrifices. Olivia snapped. You're ruining my night. No, I said, steady as a metronome. I just stopped funding it. The room was silent. Not a sound. Even the string lights seemed to hang a little lower, like they were absorbing the tension. Finally, my dad spoke. Family doesn't keep score, he said, voice low, almost pleading. I met his gaze. Family doesn't hand out microphones to humiliate their daughters either. Daniel's hand went to the engagement ring in his pocket. He looked at Olivia with a calm intensity one had never seen before. If Emily didn't exist, he asked, voice measured, how would this business survive? Olivia didn't answer. No one did. Because the truth hung there in the air. Everyone knew it. Without me, her golden image, her perfect launch, her Instagram posts, her credibility, none of it existed. Then Daniel did something quiet, but seismic. He removed the ring from his finger. Not dramatically. Not in anger. Thoughtfully. And said, I need the truth before I marry into this. The room froze. My heart pounded. The engagement party, the spotlight, the entire illusion, shattered. The party ended before dessert. Guests whispered as they left. The string lights that had made the rooftop glow now seemed dim and heavy, weighed down by tension. The champagne tower sat untouched. The jazz trio quietly packed up their instruments, unsure if anyone would applaud. Olivia locked herself in the bridal suite, leaving the door slightly ajar so her sobs could echo into the hallway. Daniel left alone, phone in hand, scrolling through transactions and invoices, trying to make sense of what he had just learned. My parents didn't call me that night. Of course they didn't. They were too busy recalculating the hierarchy of their family in light of the truth. But here's what changed in that moment. For the first time in my life, I wasn't the backup plan. I wasn't the invisible funder, the silent supporter, the one to be compared and dismissed. I was the boundary. I was the line they couldn't cross without consequences. That phrase from my mother, "You're not half the woman your sister is," echoed in my head. Maybe they were right. I'm not my sister. I don't have her charm, her network, her ability to smile through chaos. But I'm not less. I don't build dreams on someone else's paycheck. I don't rewrite history to impress a fiancé. And I don't need a microphone to measure my worth. 2 weeks later, the dust settled. Daniel postponed the engagement. He requested full transparency, not just financial, but personal accountability. Olivia's business Instagram stopped posting. My parents still hadn't called. And me? I closed the family support account, moved the $1,500 monthly transfers into my own high-yield savings account, and started putting serious money toward my condo fund. 6 months from now, I'll have my own place. Paid for by me. Not by comparison. Not by obligation. Sometimes being the less impressive sibling means being the stable one. The quiet one. The one who keeps receipts. And sometimes, the villain in someone else's story is just the person who finally stops being convenient. So let me ask you, have you ever been compared unfairly? Funded someone else's shine while being told you weren't enough? Comment, I choose boundaries if you relate. Like this video if you believe silence isn't strength, clarity is. And subscribe, because next week, I'll tell you what happened when Olivia finally called me. That conversation? It was worse than the microphone. The story ends here, for now. But the truth? That's only just beginning to be told.